I was feeling particularly miserable and in suffering and alone the other day. And it just came over me, this whole feeling that it was a lot, like a lot. I go through these states also sometimes. Just because I'm a breathwork practitioner, just because I'm an intimacy coach, doesn't mean I'm not a human being. And it doesn't mean I don't go through stuff like this also. So let's talk about it. I think some things here might help. Hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Here, I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. Before I get into this topic, I want to remind you of the fastest and, well, most sustainable, let's say, resource that I have, which I actually used the other day when I was going through all that sensation, whatever it was. It's my community on Patreon with somatic practices, and I do them regularly, record them, edit them, upload them there. That's the best way for you to tackle any topic that you have. It's a resource that somatic therapists use in therapy also. So those are healing jewels, what I have there. I think you can try them at least for 1 month and see what they do for you. Okay, we got topics from eating healthy, treating abundance, calming down, grounding and anxiety. For the ladies, doing breast massage, doing womb practices, doing pelvic floor practices, to imprinting a somatic wish in our entire bodies. That's for anybody that is open to this. To obviously pure breath work. Shorter practices, and then there are longer practices. So the reason I bring this up is because yesterday, when I was going through that overwhelming, it was really overwhelming, and I felt gloomy, helpless, and I was just, I was hunched. It was consuming me, so I got tired by halfway through my day. I was tired already. Really, really nasty stuff that gets in the way of work, gets in the way of socializing. When I was walking my wolf, I didn't socialize with anybody in the park. It was getting in my way just to focus. I wasn't, it's like I wasn't me. I was this really fraction of myself, which was also really gloomy, really nasty stuff. And by the time I figured out what was going on, because initially it takes you, it creeps up on you slowly. And at a certain point, you can't focus. I was at my laptop. I couldn't focus. You feel tired. First, you just want to lie down, or at least that's what I did. And then it dawned on me, wow, there's something here. It's like really low emotions happening. Sadness, lonesomeness. I was feeling lonesome. Like I was missing out on love. Like I was missing out on, I'm not fulfilled as a woman. It was not fulfilled as a human being, as a soul in this life. So all that stuff, which is really heavy. And as a coach, you're like, wow, what? Shouldn't I have all this stuff figured out? No, we're all human. One of the things that I appreciated in my teachers, whether it was for breath work or for sexological body work, we're all human. We can all fail sometimes, can all go through low states. It's what's important, it's what we do in those moments, how we purge them, how we go through them, and how we integrate them. So here's what I did. First of all, by the time I realized, I was already tired, so I was already laying in bed. I simply decided, okay, I'm going to do breath work. And I turned on the phone because I told myself this is going to be intense. And I don't know what's going to happen the next few days. I also needed to record a practice, so we're going to record it here. Luckily, I can guide. I mean, all I had to do was count, take pauses, tell people what was going on. At a certain point, I lost count, but that's not because of my states. I always lose count when I do breath work. No matter if I'm happy, elated, excited, blissed out, ecstatic, or morose, I'm always going to lose count when I do breath work because it takes out your conscious mind. You can't really do math and and counting and spelling all of that. So that also happened. But I started with the intention to do 300 breaths. I ended up doing 330 because we needed to do an intro, the actual breaths, and then an outro. And I counted everything. And I'm not sure if I did more or not, because at a certain point, I guided there. I was like, you guys, I don't know if this is the 6th round or the 7th round. So just to make sure, I'm going to count it as the 6th round. And we're yeah. Yeah. And by the end of it, I did feel better. All right. I felt better. Then what I did, which this is something that is going to come up in the community eventually, I put on a hair mask and a face mask. I announced on my Facebook channels. I got one personal Facebook, which is in Romanian. I got an official page in English. I put a video with me with a mask on, just my face. I told myself, if I show myself with my face all gooey and my hair and the covering on my hair, it's like too much. Okay, it's really weird. I made a video joking about the MASH 4077. There was a scene there with a mask on. Between 1972 and 1983, MASH 4077 was filmed. This was a wartime comedy, and we were seeing surgeons in the battlefield taking care of wounded soldiers and also living out their lives. At a certain point, Captain Hawkeye Pierce goes to his tent to take something. After he opens the tent door, he meets Major Hot Lips Houlihan, who's wearing a green mask on her face. Upon seeing her, he stops, he bulges his eyes at her and says nothing. She asks him, "What are you looking at?" To which he replies, "That's what I'd like to know." I also did that. I usually don't have the energy. When I'm super low, I just lie down because I'm tired already. Then I did 5K, 5 kilometers, my jog. That was after I walked my wolf. And by the end of that, so the wolf walk, I wasn't social yet. My 5 kilometers, I wasn't social yet. When I was doing the cool down, so I go a few rounds just to cool down and stretch my legs, I did socialize with one person. There's really a girl, she's 11. She's my new friend here. She also walks her dog. And we just chatted a bit, like a few rounds of the park just to cool down. And that was it. And then I slept. Interrupted because it's too hot, but I went back and I ate well. I hydrated myself, so I got back my energy. By the way, when I entered the breathwork, I didn't know what it was. I just realized I'm not well. I didn't have the energy to process where it came from, what it was, whatever. No, I didn't care what it was or where it came from. I only cared to purge it, which is what I did. Today I repeated the process again. So I put on my masks, and then I did breath work with my masks on. And then I did a meditation also. I added a practice in the community with a guided meditation. I have been doing this, it's already 3 weeks now since I've been doing them daily. I had stopped doing meditation for a while, but now I can do them. And somatic practices actually help me, because when your mind is clear, when you're lighter, you can actually do meditation, because it's not like all the heavy stuff that weighs you down. You can't really focus well, or you can't just be. There's too much stuff hanging in your space there. So for me, somatic practices actually do the job, and then meditation. And yeah, obviously today I'm way better than yesterday. And I wanted to let you know, if you ever feel that, I don't know, you get these really nasty states, and you don't know what the heck they are. You're judging because, I don't know, based on what other people put on social media, they look like they got these perfect lives. I want you to know that you're not alone in this. You're not the only one that goes through these. Most of us have them eventually. And one last thing, which I think is very important. Only if you manage to stay this far, I think you're going to benefit from this. When we're in suffering, because that's what I was in, it wasn't the worst kind of suffering, but it was still suffering. You are not attractive. You can't be magnetic. You can't be vibrant. You don't ooze sexuality or eros. There's nothing enticing about you, no matter who you are, including me, when you are in suffering. It's not attractive for anybody that is healthy anyway, and anybody that's got a sexual expression that goes towards the light. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the video I did recently about the sound of freedom. I was talking there about the sexual shadow. Anybody that is in the light cannot be attracted to somebody who's suffering. They can't be turned on by somebody who's in suffering. They can feel compassion or empathy, or they can just feel sorry, or they can feel, depending on where they are with their energy, they can feel like, oh, I can't take this. This is too low. I don't have a lot of energy myself, so I need to take myself out of here. So some people even take distance from another person that is in suffering because they just don't have enough energy on their own. And suffering does consume your vitality. That's why it's important to find ways to rise from that place. And the best way to rise is to slowly, slowly purge it. Sometimes it takes a day, like one session of whatever you prefer to do as a purging work. Sometimes it takes 2 days. Like for me, it took 2 days to get fully out of that low state. And also think about this. Think about a person that is attracted to you, but they are in suffering and you see them suffering. Okay, with all the facial expressions, the lack of energy that they have in their voice, the lack of hope, the lack of courage. I literally had somebody in my community saying that when she was going through a lot of painful things and she was also in suffering, she had lost her courage in life. And she wasn't saying that she wanted to commit suicide. She was saying that she was not doing things. She didn't have the same drive to do things. She didn't have the same hope and optimism that the things she was doing were going to work out well. That's what she meant by didn't have courage for life. Okay, that's what it meant. So when you see somebody like that, think about it. Do you think you would be attracted to them? And do you think you would be sexually turned on? If you're a being in light and your sexual expression is also in light, the answer is probably no. So realize that also about yourself. Whenever you're going through these states, you got to have something in you, the confidence that you can purge through it gradually, if nothing more. But you need to have something in you that tells you, hey, I've got this. I can do this. Look, there are other people that go through this, and I can purge this, and I can slowly get back to my usual outgoing, happy-go-lucky, super attractive, super magnetic self. All right? Super important. If you're in a relationship, believe me, the other person, I mean, they can understand you, they can feel you. It will be, or it would be, so hard for them to lift you from that state, much as it would be hard for you to lift them out of that state. It's an inner job. It doesn't mean that you have to do it alone, but it means that it's important, vital, I would say, that you have something in you, like a bit of hot blood, to say, okay, maybe I need help, somebody to guide me, to count the breaths or count the, I don't know, something, or to encourage me, come on, keep doing this, but I got to do the work myself. Okay? Encouragement is not the same as doing the actual work. So something in you needs, there needs to be a fighting spirit, a loving spirit, self-loving included, spirit in you to get out of that state, right? Okay, as long as we live, there's hope, there's optimism, things to fulfill, achieve, rejoice in, and so on. And things that make us really hot and sexy and juicy and succulent. But that happens when we're out of those states. So I have faith in you that if you've stuck through this, you're the kind of person that can do it. I can help you with holding space for you. And the best way and the most sustainable one is that you enter my community, Patreon. Pick the recorded membership. It's a monthly fee. And you get constantly access to the practices that I've already uploaded and then to new ones. And I hold space for you. By the way, when I'm facilitating, I'm also doing those practices. Like, I'm doing them as well. There's no other way around it. I'm the kind of coach that guides, but also does it themselves. That can be of support. But the fighting spirit and the loving spirit, including self-loving spirit, you gotta have it in yourself also. I trust that you do. All right. I wish you a beautiful day. And I wish you that you get out of feeling lonely and feeling hopeless towards feeling fulfilled, vibrant, magnetic, super energized, or even moderately energized. We can take it in steps. It's okay. We can have understanding for the journey here. See you next time. Bye.